Hi guys, a very good morning. Mamuka say, Mamuka say, Mamuka say. So Rutendo Matinyarare is not stopping anytime soon. But we need to take a look on very powerful people who are actually behind Rutendo Matinyarare. These are ZANU-PF factional fights, and they are very, very, very well-resourced people, very powerful, well-resourced people behind Rutendo. And we are going to talk about the issue of sanctions some other time and how everything is linked, how VP Chiwenga ended up on the sanctions list, and how he's going to be removed from the sanctions list. So it's going to be very, very interesting, Team Zimbabwe. The Mohlande Commission of Inquiry is going to be very, very critical and very important in terms of VP Chiwenga and his removal from the sanctions, the Magnitsky sanctions. But let us talk about this post. Rutendo Matinyarare talks about MSG found in chicken in tomato sauce and chicken. So Rutendo Matinyarare is not focusing on chicken slice, is not focusing on any other food outlets. He's focusing on Innscor. A reason why Innscor is because Innscor has been funding the regime for a very long time, especially the ascendance of the Mafidi dynasty. It has been funded heavily by Innscor through its proxies. So he says, in our tests of chicken in and tomato sauce, we found MSG, or monosodium glutamate, which is deemed by some scientists to be carcinogenic. It is also associated with obesity, metabolic abnormalities, Chinese restaurant syndrome, neurotoxic effects, and harmful effects on the reproductive organs. For these reasons, it has been banned in Pakistan and Turkey, and in Canada. You must declare it, on the ingredients. Glyphosate tests on Blue Ribbon, Staple, and National Foods GMO Millimil will be done in 7 days. Innscor versus Rutendo. So this is the biggest fight of the decade. This is the biggest fight of our lifetime. Because remember, he has taken Innscor head on in South Africa and now in Zimbabwe. And they are trying to censor him. They are trying to make sure that he removes this content online. But he is continuously posting without ceasing. The major question is, Arikumbotembe. Another question is, who is actually protecting him? Because Innscor leads one of the biggest cartels in Zimbabwe. And vakapinda ku financial sector, vari ku food, vari ku mining, vakapinda kwese. So you see that this is very important and a very critical moment in the history of Zimbabwe, or in the politics of Zimbabwe, because this is going to determine the course and direction taken by Zimbabwe. I can tell you, the Chiwenga faction, their major aim is to make sure that they dislodge cartels ese ari kufanda this regime. So they've realized that the finance sector has been taken over already by the Mafidi dynasty. So what they want to do is to make sure that ZANU-PF is not funded by these cartels further. This is what they want to stop. So they are now using proxies, Rakatasana Rutendo, to fight in their corner, and so as to distract them, so as to cause divisions. Then once they've done that, you see kuti vanenge vakuchitsvaga kuona kuti how are these guys going to continue funding the other faction. So you will see that these things are no longer normal. It's no longer about Rutendo and Innscor. It's now about something bigger and something bigger. So you can see that people like Rutendo, these are people with potential. If Chiwenga is to come right now, they have potential. These are the next ministers. If Chiwenga is to be president, these will be the next ministers. So there is a team. They have positioned themselves clearly to make sure that any chance they will be the first to benefit. They will be the first, or they will be on the forefront. But why is Rutendo's fight against Innscor very important for the people of Zimbabwe? Point number one, cartels in Zimbabwe needs to be dislodged. Rutendo is talking about making sure that fuel is sold in Zig, but the cartels in Zimbabwe do not want fuel to be sold in Zig. This is a clear indication that Zimbabwe is being sabotaged by the people who are running it. And this is not going well or sitting well with the other faction or with the people linked to General Chiwenga. He is not even happy because of this. That is the reason why General Chiwenga had to indirectly invite Nelson Chamisa onto the table. That was a message which was sent, Kuti, Nelson Chamisa, you can come and join the party. That was an indirect message. Irikusheka corridors of power right now. This is the first message of its kind of General Chiwenga actually telling an opposition leader to come and join a party. Remember, this man is partyless and this man is on his own. Just imagine if a move is made and Nelson Chamisa declares people kuti munhu wese road, what will happen to the nation of Zimbabwe? It will be shaken. Just imagine kuti if this man is still powerful and still can influence some military generals to stand with the people, what will happen? It means the Masfidi dynasty will fall. It will fall. It will never stand the test of time. Why? It's because nobody knows, especially by the juniors in the police, in the CIA, or in the military. Nobody knows what they're thinking. So during the day, they might pretend to be in sync with Vision 2030, but at night, they're thinking otherwise. So there is great panic in the corridors of power and a lot is happening. But this is a very interesting moment. Why is Rutendo picking a fight with Innscor? It's because there is something bigger than all these issues which are being raised. There is an issue of factional battles where Innscor is allegedly involved in funding another faction so that it remains in power and in power and in power. It's not only the one cartel. There is a cartel in the fuel sector, a cartel in the food sector, because ndo vanhu vari kuprovide vanhu nemachicken in pamarallies. Ndo vanhu vari kuita kuti zvinhu zvinge zvichivheringwa each and every time, but they are benefiting more to the system. So there is a disruption which is coming, and that disruption is going to cause a lot of chaos in the whole economy of Zimbabwe. But at the end of the day, you are going to see the fall of the Mafidi dynasty. They have made their mistakes. There is nothing they can do to correct the mess they've created. What is left for them is to pack, march, and go. So we are going to talk about Mtuli. We are going to talk about Kuda Mnangagwa and how Mtuli has been replaced by Kuda Mnangagwa. It's very important to note that we have dived into the most interesting moments. The major question is, who is funding Rutendo? Because for you to do or to run the tests Rutendo is actually doing, it's not an easy task. It's not an issue of one day. It's something which will take time. But this is a strategy which is being used by these young Zimbabweans to make sure that they dislodge the cartel and they get a chance to get into the industry. It's all about penetrating the industry, nothing more. So you will see interesting moments ahead, and Innscor has made several mistakes, and Team Rana Rutendo will win.